What is the journey beyond AI and automation, right? See what happens in the last 2 decades in the realm of testing, the world of testing that we've been in. The innovation has been synonymous with automation. Automate more, automate better, automate more efficiently, automate everything, and let testers go home, right? Last 2 years, automation along with AI. Now, last 6 months, Gen AI. So, innovation is synonymous with automation. Innovation has become synonymous with AI. Now, is this the end of the road for us? We do more and more automation and keep hearing from everybody, you have to reduce number of testers. So how do you go beyond, how do you innovate beyond automation AI, but with automation and AI as strong foundation? What is the thinking? So we will discuss more about thinking behind it. There are no frameworks, no SOP, because that anyway every day we all do this, and everything will be much better. The world is full of prescriptions. I want to be free from prescriptions for innovation to thrive. What innovation we know, Apple. Everybody talks about Apple, Netflix, Uber, and Airbnb. So Apple, what has Apple done? 2 decades back, mobile phones were utility devices. You make a phone call, send a message. They changed all that. They changed all that to mobile phone becoming a lifestyle device, style statement. If you're an Apple person, it's like a cult. So I once saw, Apple person not even touching Android phone. So what is the point here? The point is it's become an innovation cult. Cult in a positive sense of word. So Apple has redefined, redesigned, and repositioned. Same thing with Uber, Airbnb, completely. And everybody now starts talking about Uberization of economy and all that. Right? So how do we do the same thing, similar thing? We don't want to copy. How do we redefine, redesign, and reposition testing? Automation and AI as a strong foundation. Make sense? So how do we apply, how do we balance critical thinking with imagination? We have been taught from childhood about critical thinking, about logical thinking, and we have been told that logic carries you very far. But logic has to be balanced by imagination. Critical thinking has to be balanced by lateral thinking. Lateral thinking, you can do a Google as I'm talking. It's something that was developed by a person called De Bono, and 3 decades back. It uses logic and reasoning, but it gives you certain insights that are sudden, that are inspiring. So how do we apply this? Is creativity inborn from birth, or can we develop it? Should testers start to inculcate it? Should we start to train testers in it? Of course, yes. Right? So before we go to innovation, what are the challenges today we face which I never talk about in testing? As per an internal survey, we found that 30% of the test cases on an average, they don't contribute to any defect, yield, defunct. Still run them. We still automate them. And as high as 40% of so-called automated test cases need babysitting. They are not autonomous. They stop. And then defects. Many of them are invalid because of many reasons. And many defects, tend to get redirected. There are many process challenges today in testing which need addressing. We'll leave that for a minute because that's a problem-solving issue. You have a problem, you solve it. Is that innovation? Maybe. Let's go beyond it. Coming to product, most of the production defects are structural in nature, architectural, interfaces, right? And many of them whatever fails in production don't seem to have any associated test cases. See, there are no test cases. So what we do, we create test cases. It fails somewhere else. Again, we create test cases. But underlying nature of the production failures is structural, architectural. Many of them are non-reproducible. Production support people report it, developers say we can't reproduce it, close it, right? And they keep recurring. So what are the challenges? We talked about testing. What about modern software delivery today? Modern software means the world of microservices, cloud, AI, and so on and so forth. Complex architectures, they call it hairball architecture. So many microservices, components coming together, complex, distributed. No longer, well understood architecture. What are the imperatives for testing? Cloud. Cloud is distributed. One thing that is not spoken about today is cloud is a distributed system. The very nature of cloud that is giving us advantage of scalability, flexibility, cost, pay-per-use, resiliency. The same characteristics give rise to risk. We don't understand it properly and design properly. So many issues today in cloud that are distributed systems are unpredictable. It's like a mob. Hundreds of components coming together, behaving completely unpredictably. What are the imperatives for testing? On top of it, a lot of agile. Agile, what does agile do? Add more and more features. It's like adding more and more floors on a building. What happens to the building? The superstructure starts to collapse. The architecture starts to degrade. What is architecture? It's abstract thing. It's a way the components are brought together, integrated together. There are decisions taken for architectures. Those decisions form part of what we call the architecture. Those decisions become no longer valid as we add more and more features. Architecture starts to degrade. What are the imperatives for testing? AI. If you look at the left, well understood, 2 decades back, systems were clear, they were predictable, their behavior was rule-based. Now, if you look at the right top, it's very contextual. Again, unpredictability. As you add more and more AI, infuse more and more AI into applications, the ecosystem, your behavior becomes very context-driven. They're not deterministic. Non-determinism today is the biggest problem today for testers. Whereas our process assumes, test case assumes for a given input, stimulus, the response, the behavior is predictable, deterministic. Not true anymore. What are the imperatives? So what we have to understand is testing is a cognitive process. You never heard of this term, cognitive process. And involves decisions under uncertainty. The best example of cognitive process is driving in Indian traffic. There are no rules. You have to adapt, improvise, negotiate on the fly. Somebody said, Mahesh, what about marriage? You have to optimize every day, every minute, every hour. You don't know what the other person is going to say. Same dialogue today, good response. Tomorrow, bad response. Distributed system, right? So, let us understand, accept this. So far, we have led ourselves to believe testing is deterministic. And everybody has been saying testing is low and yeah, why do we need so many people? Why can't we automate? Because we are not recognizing the cognitive nature of testing. What is cognitive process? Something that needs to perceive data, analyze data, build insight, prioritize, take action, adapt, optimize, continuous, and uncertainty of requirements, uncertainty of how the system is going to be used in production. uncertainty of how it is going to behave in production. So what happens? Testers are actually mission impossible people. Nothing is known, nothing is guaranteed. Upstream quality not guaranteed. Requirements not skeletal requirements. So what is Ethan Hunt? His qualities? Bold and courageous. Ethan Hunt is very comfortable with ambiguity. Ethan Hunt plans but continuously adapts and optimizes. And last is Ethan Hunt does what is right. He is not worried about popularity. Same as testers. Bold and courageous, comfortable with ambiguity, continuously optimizing, and not worried about what people think about you. Do what is right. So how do we apply innovation techniques in testing? Is it very loud at the back? Okay. So I will cover 4 techniques that personally I have used. Jobs to be done, which is advocated by professor of Harvard called Clayton Christensen. Cross-industry learning and de Bono's lateral thinking, especially provocation and idea reversal. Last is biomimetics, learning from nature. How do we apply all this? I have to move fast. How much time I have? 10 minutes? Okay. So I'll leave you with this thought because I don't have time to go through a tutorial of how we can apply all this, right? So jobs to be done is primarily, Clayton talks about when you want to innovate, you go back to the basics, right? Now, in this example, fast food chain wanted to increase its sales of milkshake. They thought better taste will do. It didn't work. When they did a survey, what they found was people who bought milkshake are the people who are office goers in the morning. They wanted something to give them company for a long drive. It's not about taste. The job to be done here was not taste or thirst. It was company. Something that they can hold on as a driving, drink, and last longer. So when they did, they redesigned the cup, the consistency, everything, they saw increase in sales. But they understood this as thirst, taste. That was not the main thing. Right? Cafe is another thing, right? Now cafes have become social spaces, workspaces, redefined it. So how do we redefine testing? Is testing the output? Fine, testing is an output, but what we have to give is actionable insights. How system is tending to fail? What is causing it to fail? Network of factors. We'll see more about it. Second is cross-domain analogy. So there are some examples that I don't think I have time. The crumpleable, before the advent of Google Map, we had this, some company came up with this crumpleable map, which you could crumple put it in your pocket. You remove it, it is back to normal. So you don't have to worry about folding and tearing and all that. So they copied it from crumpleable, non-shrinkable hanky, right? So how do you apply? So second learning from this is, learning from search and rescue. The search and rescue people have to optimize the search. Same as treasure hunt, same as mine detection. So how do we apply defect search optimization techniques in testing? Rather than coverage, you have to maximize defect per dollar spent, right? Third is, if you go by, today when we came, somebody opened the boot and then checked something, easily automatable. Lowest of security, right? If you look at police, they come after the crime is committed. But look at the central intelligence agencies, they do research, they analyze, they predict, they take a position on where the crime is going to happen. So what we need in testing is quality intelligence and visualizations. If you go look at visualization in Google, you have lots of visualizations today, data visualizations. You have to start to use those visualizations, not just graphs. Not just saying that so many defects have come and graphs and pie charts, not enough. That is a rear view mirror metric. We need more and more intuitive visualizations that provide the program management with the guidance. right? Like a torch, you shine torch in a dark cave to look for snakes, right? So like a torch, and you can change the intensity and the color of the torch, the direction. We need test cases which are risk adaptive. Now with Gen AI coming in, it becomes easier to put more intelligence into every test case, rather than test case being a simple instructional. So what about risk adaptive intelligent test cases that adapts based on not just risk, the defect propensity, and continuously adapts, right? Just like the treadmill test, which you simulate your heart, you stimulate heart, you simulate, and then um, you do test, you give more diagnostic. It's not about pass fail like test cases. We need more modeling, failure modeling, behavior modeling. Some of us learned modeling in school and colleges. We need more of those modeling, failure modeling, behavior modeling, and simulation. This is where observability driven testing comes. You heard of observability driven design? It's in the Gartner you know, curve, right? What do you call that? Gartner hype cycle. So we need observability driven testing, where you use observability to discover insights. So provocation is a good idea, good the place, a way to provoke your mind to think differently. Suppose I had said train without wheels 25 years back. You would have laughed at me. But you move forward, take that idea forward. You have maglev, you have hovercraft, right? Ticketless travel. Now it's so intuitive. E-tickets, codeless, right? 30 years back we had data over voice, over phone lines. Now we have voice over data, reversal, right? Now let us apply it in testing. Status quo, test cases, test the system. Let's apply provocation or idea reversal. We say provocation, no test cases will be written. Hey, this is really crazy. No, you have to move forward from this. You can't stop here because you will reach a state of craziness, right? Now, you move forward and say, instead of me writing test case, can the system generate test cases? Ah, makes sense. Let's see. Move forward. Can you not create, using Gen AI, from the logs, create test cases automatically, augment existing test cases? Possible, right? So system-generated automation. You can automate it also. Seventh idea, right? Now, biomimetics, a lot of industry picks up from nature, like this Velcro. The Velcro inventor saw that when he walked his dog, the burrs, they call seeds, they stuck to the dog's skin. You can pull it out, but it sticks. Velcro, right? And then, of course, the deep learning came from neural networks, right? How can you apply this in testing? This ant colony optimization, right? The left is ant colony optimization. As ants start to forage for food, they leave something, hormones called pheromones. And pheromones, the smell lives for some time. So the next ant starts to follow it. But one ant becomes very smart, looks at the shortest path to the food. And that path, the pheromone, the longer path, the smell goes off. The shorter path smell remains. Over a period of time, the ants start to take the shortest path. Collective swarm behavior. Similarly, the birds, they call it murmuration. Individually, it's a simple set of rules, but collectively very complex. So why can't we create a swarm intelligent test suite, wherein every test case talks to other test cases intelligently? If a test case finds a problem, communicates with other test cases, say, hey, can you dig deeper into it? Test cases are becoming more intelligent. It complements the earlier idea of risk adaptive intelligent test case. Each test case is intelligent. Collectively, they form swarm intelligence. Possible with Gen AI? Very much possible. 5 years back, or even 1 year back, would have been pipe dream, right? So, which means the whole test case, the way we think about test case has to change. Test case as an instrument of monitoring, as an instrument of diagnosis, as an instrument of search optimization, as instrument of modeling and simulation, prognosis, learn from biology, prognosis, right? They do prognosis. And test case as an instrument of mining. One more minute. So finally, put it all together, you get some wonderful set of ideas. All of you can take it back to your teams. The challenge is not ideation, which is there. How to scale it up, right? You have quality intelligence. Three-dimensional quality is about how to correlate process quality, structural quality, and functional quality, non-functional quality. How do we correlate all these quality metrics? Feed-forward loops, feedback, continuous feed-forward, no quality gate, only quality guidance, right? And then you have automation, system-generated automation, specification-generated automation, which is already coming now with Gen AI, right? Modeling and simulation, observability-driven testing, put more chaos engineering principles into it. And then the last is optimization, defect search optimization. Look testing as a search problem, not as a testing problem. Individual test cases becoming very intelligent, more adaptive, on the fly, and collective swarm intelligence, right? So the whole mindset has to change. New language, new terminologies have to develop. So we have to start to talk about new ways of thinking. Thinking is driven by words. So you have to coin new terms, right? So, of course, that changes the whole career streams today from test automation. We expand the career streams to more and more things. So testing as an advisory, more quality intelligence, more insights, and becoming the centerpiece of any IT delivery, right? Human beings will never go out of fashion, my standard statement. And then I'm really excited to work with AVO Automation. I think they have a lot of innovative culture in their organization. In a very short time, they've been able to make inroads into the market. Looking forward to working with them, on collaborating with them, market perspective, product perspective. And more important is, as community, we have to get together and change the way we operate, change the way we are perceived, redefine, redesign, reposition. Thank you.